Dr. Eric Garcia was found dead in his home in Ketchikan, Alaska.
Was it an accident, natural causes, or was it murder?
If we're talking about it here, it was probably murder, Jeff.
Yeah, definitely murder.
All right, so we're doing a recap of Cold-Blooded Mystery in Alaska on this episode of So Much Crime,
So Little Time.
So, Jeff, I went to a minor league ice hockey game on Saturday and I spotted someone wearing our merch, wearing a piece of clothing with our name and logo on it. So Much Crime, So Little Time. It looked so cool. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. What a moment.
I presume they were getting mobbed by fans of the show, signing
autographs. So
autographs.
many people being like, what is this? What's going on? What does this logo mean? It was fantastic. It was fantastic. So glad to have like an anonymous presence within this podcast, that it's just the logo that speaks for us. But what's interesting is that person is one of our top tier Patreon members. And so that's where they got the t-shirt from. And I just thought, what a moment. What a time. They were having a great time. I was having a great time. It was fantastic. If you want to have a great time, you could also join our Patreon, patreon.com/so much crime, so little time. There, becoming a Patreon subscriber, you'd be able to get our merch. And you could also have that moment where you're wandering around the street in your very cool merch and someone will come up to you and say, I love your shirt. Tell me more about it. This is fantastic. What more could you want? That's patreon.com/so much crime, so little time. Thank you. Welcome to So Much Crime, So Little Time. I'm Dee.
And I'm Jeff. And before we start, just a quick warning.
Warning.
This episode will have spoilers for Mystery in Alaska. We're going to discuss the whole series.
If you haven't listened yet, check out our preview episode on this show. It's the one before this one in your feed.
You'll also find a link for Mystery in Alaska in our show notes.
But right now, let's jump in and remind ourselves what this podcast, what this crime is all about. So this podcast was released in 2025. The host is Chris Connelly. There are 6 episodes plus one bonus episode, and each are around 30 minutes long. But Jeff, tell us a little bit about the story as we heard it from episode 1.
Yeah, so in episode 1, we were introduced to Dr. Eric Garcia. He was a prominent surgeon in Ketchikan, Alaska. We heard a little bit about his background. We heard a little bit about Ketchikan, and specifically relevant to this story, in the first episode, we heard about the police going out to his home to do a welfare check. There were some friends and coworkers who were worried about him, and the police go inside the home, find the doctor dead on his couch with some weird stuff like a piece of charcoal and an open packet of bacon and just some strange things in the house. Yeah, and then the episode ended with one of the friends so several of these friends and coworkers showed up at the house when the police were doing the welfare check, and one of them mentioned, hey, there's over $500,000 in wine and coins and gold that are hidden inside the house. And that's pretty much where we left it. So yeah, Dee, let's jump in. Let's talk about Mystery in Alaska, Dr. Eric Garcia. I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Oof. Jeff.
I have an opinion if you don't.
Oh yeah, go. I like when other people have opinions and I don't.
I would like to start
I can sit back and judge them.
Okay, well, judge this. I would like to start by saying this is our 160th episode. And I don't know if this is the first time this happened, but this is definitely a time that this happened, where when we finished the preview episode, you asked me, what do you think's going to happen? And I said, oh, Jordan Joplin did it. And you were a little skeptical, maybe just that I felt strongly about that I had an opinion that I was holding to. I don't know what it was.
No, it was because it was so freaking obvious. I was like, he's hardly stupid enough to kill him and then call up being like, oh my God, my friend, he said that he was like ideating over oh no, how am I saying this? He was worried for his friend's welfare, and he does the welfare check, and then he arrives in, and then he drives his friend's car from the airport over to the house. So it just felt too easy to me. I was like, well, no, if this is episode 1, there's going to be some twists and turns. Like, it was like, what, 6 episodes long?
And yet,
it's exactly what happened.
It's exactly what happened. And also, have we not learned that a lot of people who do crimes like this are real dumb?
Yeah, but usually we don't hear about the dumb in episode 1.
But we did not explicitly hear anything about him being dumb in episode 1. We heard a lot about that in the other 5 episodes. But in the first episode, he mostly just showed up in the truck.
He drove his car from the airport.
He said he was his close friend. It didn't make sense. But a lot of things didn't make sense in the first episode.
But just focusing on that. What? Like,
let me ask you this. As you listen to the other 5 episodes, as we learn more about...
Just rent a fucking car. You've stolen like 500,000 off your man. Rent a car. And that wouldn't have been that obvious.
As we learn more about Jordan Joplin throughout these episodes, each sort of bit of detail about his personal life, about his career, about what he did around these events, did you not think each time one new nugget of wisdom, or what's the opposite of wisdom, stupidity, came out, like, oh yeah, this all tracks, this all fits, all of this kind of comes together to form a complete whole?
Honestly, I don't know if there's one thing that I thought was as stupid as driving his car from the airport. What was... I
know something that was as stupid as that.
Well, hold on. Like, even the fact, and this annoyed me so much. Like, in the bonus episode, we hear actually what happened in that clip.
That moment
was that Dr. Garcia's work wife called Dawn. I knew it was a duh. Had recognized like a key ring that she had gifted Dr. Garcia, which was on his key ring. So it wasn't a spare set of keys for the car. It was, in fact, Dr. Garcia's set of keys, which was really what gave it away. And so I go back to the fact that what a fucking idiotic thing to do.
In what world would it make sense? Would it ever be justifiable to take the security? There was like a box or something that was part of the home security system that he packed up with all the other things. Like, there were so many, like, how did the police not notice all of this tech missing? Like, they noticed the smoke detectors missing, but his laptop, his cell phone, like all of this stuff that you would think like would be obviously just absent from this home.
But I don't know, because I think what happened in the bonus episode is I realized that I had no trust for the podcast because I was being told a very dramatic version of the story. I wasn't being told, as I would see it, a fair version, because it was leaving pieces out to create dramatic suspense. This story is dramatic in its own right. To leave out the thing about the key that Dawn realized at that exact moment, and she realized, but like so that I think created...
No, you're right. You're right.
I didn't love the podcast before that.
Yeah.
But that created it just felt like there was distrust in how it was telling the story, because it was purposely not telling you that at that point to add suspense, as opposed to saying Dawn knew it at this point. It still took the police how long to get this sorted and wrapped up and Jordan Joplin charged. So it's not as if even with Dawn knowing it at that point, it was like a closed case. There was still wildness because they were looking at, you know, the shipping container and like the relationship and then his other relationship. There was so much in it, but it created this element of distrust. And so when you're saying like, well, did they even notice that his laptop or his phone and stuff was gone? It's like, probably, but they never mentioned it.
That's a good point. They may have noticed it. The police may have noticed it, but they didn't mention it in the podcast. I think I wanted to ask you, so let's step back from this podcast for a second. So this is a 2020 podcast, which we talked in the preview, how 2020 is akin to a Dateline podcast. We've listened to podcasts of this type, of this sort of production style before. I don't know that there are ever ones that we particularly love. Is that fair to say?
Thing about Pam? That was Dateline.
It was, but I feel like the thing about Pam, the story, I mean, it's Keith Morrison, which adds some like gravitas to it. And that
But
story
this is Chris Connelly, who's like we heard about that in the preview episode, that he's a pretty renowned like journalist, no?
He's a renowned journalist. I don't think he's a renowned true crime guy. Like, I think it's different. I don't think like, yeah, I feel like I've grown up watching Chris Connelly on TV, or at least in the 90s I did. I actually didn't know what happened to him, but
then you stumbled across him here.
Yeah, it was weird because I hadn't like I have not seen him on TV since probably like 1997 when he was like still on MTV. But anyway, you're right that this is a sort of particularly manipulative type of podcast that you can't really trust the storytelling, and the story itself is wild enough, and if they told it more kind of straight, it may have served it better. But like, 'cause this story is full of weird details. Like
Bonkers.
Sorry.
It's like adding in tidbits to everything you said.
The sort of parallel paths, like the tragic life of Dr. Eric Garcia, who seemed like he was doing like nice things in the world, right? Like he just seemed like a good-hearted person who liked collecting things, liked giving nice gifts randomly to people, lived alone, seemed lonely in a lonely place in a small town in Alaska, would take his parents on trips, would, just do kind things for people. And then contrast that with Jordan Joplin, who seemingly was running one scam after another. I mean, just the stories of him having like the multiple girlfriends at the same time. You've said this before, but like, how do you keep that up? Maybe that's not the right way to say that. How do you maintain that? Like how?
I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. It takes just a certain type of person who can just like,
Let me ask you this. Let's go a little deeper on this. The other thing we heard a lot about Jordan Joplin was how he really filled out a t-shirt. How
we heard about that so much. I think at one point the question was asked to his ex-fiance, how did he look? Was it how did he look with his t-shirt off, or how did he look in a tight t-shirt? And I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, it was gratuitous. Not a little, it was gratuitous. So I was eating lunch yesterday with someone who similarly very muscular, very like, and it's a full-time job. Like, it's all consuming, constantly thinking about what you're eating, constantly thinking about your workouts, constantly doing the workouts. Every calorie you put into you is prescribed. And like, that's a job, like all by itself. So how you have time to do anything else, I don't know. I think about that sometime when I go to like every once in a while I'll go through a phase where I'll like lift weights, and I don't do it very much because I get real bored real fast. But then I'm also like, to do this to the point of looking like that, you see like those like people in like actors, right? Like the Marvel actors, like Chris Hemsworth or whatever. Like, that's their whole job. They spend hours a day working on that. And
they have someone cooking for them.
Yeah. They're not.
Oh yeah.
Chris Hemsworth isn't making his own box mac and cheese at home. Like, he's got a team.
Sprinkling in some protein powder to
yeah. He's not using his blender.
No. I totally agree. I think like any time that you are so focused on your calories for an extended period of time, you got to check yourself to be like, okay, like, what's happening?
Anyway, all right. So Jordan Joplin, all the girlfriends, all the muscles, the porn stuff. We don't have to talk about it.
So all the girlfriends, and then like, I don't know. I felt like some of it was, again, I think it goes back to my distrust, which happened after, but it gave kind of weight to some of the feelings I had, I think, throughout the podcast.
Yeah.
So even when they're talking, what's his girlfriend's name?
Oh, we heard from several girlfriends. There was Kristen.
No, who was
Jessica?
The one that he was Was Kristen the one he was engaged to?
Yes, she worked at Red
Okay.
Robin. They met at an
So
EDM concert.
yeah, so like the way they were like, oh, and he was a stripper, and you were okay with that? And she's like, yeah, sometimes like I went to, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know. It felt like so much of it was like it was going down that just salacious 2020 thing. I know we had that issue, I think, with Pam at certain points. It felt like it was just trying to say stuff to say it. I remember with the thing about Pam, there was like a particular relationship that they wanted to be like, and then they were together. And you're just like, okay, like whatever. Like this isn't adding to the story. It's like thrown in there to be like, people want spicy, we'll mention spicy. And I don't know. It just, this story lost Eric Garcia in it. It lost him in it. It wanted to focus on jacked up Jordan, who was able to con all of these people into relationships, which is a story in itself, but it's not a story that is focused on the victim here, who was manipulated, seduced, and then ultimately, like, he was drugged before this as well. And then he was murdered. And it just didn't feel like that they cared at all about Dr. Garcia and like telling his story and having it out there for him. And it wasn't, it just felt, I don't know, it felt icky.
Well, and the other podcast I was going to bring up that I feel like was in the same style was Deadly Mirage. Remember Deadly Mirage?
Oh, yeah.
Which was a similar...
All the affairs, I forget who put
and
that
stuff
out.
Yeah, but where there was that victim at the center of it, the husband of the woman who was having the affair with the guy. And the victim really kind of disappeared from the story, and it focused more on like these two meeting at Costco and like leading this other life. I did think it was like I was surprised at how many people participated in this podcast. Like we had multiple ex-girlfriends of Jordan, and then also was it Saul, Dr. Garcia's brother, who participated a lot. I think was really important to hear from. Like I think
so important,
yeah, that was to me the best part of this whole thing was hearing from the brother. And
also the realtor, Bob Jackson. There was something very like, I don't know, it created a real realness or something, being like, he didn't know how to do anything around the house. Like he didn't know how to like change a light or like whatever.
It was an interesting detail of like he couldn't have taken those smoke detectors down because he didn't even know how to use a ladder. And like the idea of him using the grill even seemed like far-fetched.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like the brother discovering the smoke detectors through some like divine intervention was, I mean, that was an amazing moment.
That was an amazing moment. And that's what I'm saying. Like without the additional drama, this was an incredible story. Like Dr. Garcia himself seemed to be an incredible person, but how it unfolded and how the truth behind the murder unfolded is pretty incredible in itself. And I just wish it gave that. I wish the podcast was formatted in a way to give it that.
I agree with that. I think there were some things, I don't know, like it's kind of amazing to me how long this took how long the podcast took to get to the end, but also how long it took to get that conviction, right? Like Jordan was in jail for years before the trial happened. And that happens for different reasons, whatever. But like, maybe they couldn't pin the death to him exactly. But the fact that he had that 8-second or 7-second video on his phone of Dr. Garcia, like in the clothes, on the couch where he died. Like, first of all the dumb things and Jordan did a lot of dumb things. So many dumb things. But having basically evidence that implicates you on your phone while you have the phone of the person you murdered in a Faraday cage like bag. Like he left the receipts from Walmart for the storage containers in the car, in Dr. Garcia's car. There's security camera. I'm sorry, the list of things that were just like baffling in their stupidity.
I'm just going to go back to the fact that it just, to me, didn't feel like If he hadn't driven the car to the house,
Yeah.
would they have figured it out?
Yeah, if he just stayed in Seattle.
They mentioned so often that people didn't really know about him.
Was he calling? So he called the police to do a welfare check. Like, is this all part of his alibi? I presume it's just part of his sort of half thought through alibi.
Because like, doesn't make any sense. Because then his fiance, Kristen, calls as well.
Right. Why? If they don't do that, let's think this through. If they don't do that, Dawn was concerned, right? Because Dawn's the coworker. She's not tied up with Jordan. She like vaguely knew him, but didn't really. Because she also, I think, called the police saying like something's wrong here. We never find out. There's a couple things. There's some loose threads we never found out about. We never found out what happened with that hotel in Las Vegas. That was teased in the first episode as like, oh, the person got off the phone real quickly, like they said something they weren't supposed to say. What happened to that? That they never came back to that, right? Did they? I don't think they did.
No, but I think we can assume that Jordan like called to cancel it, pretending to be Dr. Garcia.
Also,
I don't know
something
why
that
you do that.
I don't know. The other thing we spent a lot of time on in the preview that I really was annoyed. I kept waiting for it to come back.
The bacon.
The bacon. What happened to the bacon? That was never explained. And let me just say this, and this is maybe not the right thing to do on this podcast, but if you're going to stage a murder that involves a charcoal grill and you're trying to pretend that someone was using that grill, buy a pack of steaks, buy some chicken.
But why was that it? Was it for the carbon monoxide element? But then how would that even work if the door's open?
Because the breeze is blowing in from the door because that patio looked out onto the water. And so they said that at one point that it was a bad place to put a grill because it's so windy and the wind is coming in through the door.
Yeah, but the wind is going to circulate the air in and out, surely.
But it's going to blow the smoke in the carbon monoxide into the house. It wasn't a good plan. It was a bad plan.
I just don't understand.
I think that was the plan. Why the charcoal?
Was he it just doesn't make any sense. Like, was he hoping they wouldn't do a toxicology on him?
What was the stain on his shirt? The other stain on his shirt. There was a charcoal stain and there was like a purple stain on his shirt. We never found out about that.
I mean, candle wax. They were obviously getting up to stuff together, and I don't know. Was it like some form of like we don't hear, but like, was that what it was? I don't know. Was it the drink that he was made to drink? I don't know. Then we also like breezed over Bob. Was it Bob who was told that Jordan basically drugged Dr. Garcia weeks before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And dragged him up the stairs?
Dragged him up the stairs.
And I'm like, at what point did the police know that? Again, like, I don't feel like I understand the linear fashion of the story. Like, what point was that known? Because I just feel like if we knew this all as it played out, Dr. Garcia would have stayed front and center.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have been brought on the journey. As opposed to, and then there was bacon. And then it like fucks off and never mentions the bacon again. Like, it just felt so...
You don't tease bacon.
No, but it just felt so, what's the word? Amateur.
Ooh.
I know.
That's a heavy word. Yeah. Okay, well, and another, like, okay. If
or
we were to
like
make
they're
this
talking
podcast,
down to their audience. I think that's what it is. I think it feels more condescending. As in, we need you. Oh, you couldn't know the full story because whatever. You, in order to be engaged, need to have this suspense. Like, don't fuck with me. Just tell me the story. You know?
Don't fuck with me. Just tell me the story. That's the title of the episode. Well, and if we were to do this, I think another angle, so there's several angles I think we would have taken. We would have made Dr. Garcia more front and center. We would have explained the bacon. We certainly would have come back to the bacon. We wouldn't let the bacon just drop off out of the story.
Or just don't like mention it.
The other thing that we would have done if we'd done the story is something that they raised, but I feel like could have been the central theme running through this whole thing. They asked the question, why kill the golden goose? Jordan was getting all kinds of things that he was getting money. He was getting gifts. If he kills him, that all ends. And yes, he gets that one-time chance to steal all the things, which is incredibly high risk. Did it seem like not the highest reward? Like, did it seem like he would have made more money if he just kept milking him?
yeah, I don't know, as like where we live, like thwarted our sense, like our value behind money. But I'm like, half a million?
Not that much.
Like that doesn't even give you the deposit for a house that isn't going to cost you whatever 15 grand per month in mortgage repayments here. Like that's nothing. Like I don't like it doesn't.
It's not enough.
It's not when you're getting like a steady stream of income from this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know whether is it the engagement, do you think? Is it like, okay, I'm ready to settle down. I want to get us set up, so I want to like disconnect from this. But it seemed like Dr. Garcia didn't necessarily only want to give Jordan money when they were like acting on their relationship like as a couple. It felt like when they were even just friends, Dr. Garcia was happy to help him out.
Because he would do that for everybody. He would just give watches and coins and like random things and just have like gold out. And he wasn't...
You know what was really sad? I thought it was really sad that it, from his brother, from anyone we heard who really knew Dr. Garcia, was they said like, we didn't know him to have been in relationships over the years. And it felt to me like this is just... You know, he was like, you know what? And like he had that health scare and he's like, I'm going to start living my life. And it's like, oh, he decides to let loose and he decides to just embrace anyone that's given him this attention. And he's probably not even double thinking it. He's just like, oh no, this is it. Like other people get this and I want it. And this potential naivety, because he hasn't had any experience with people who often are dating and like aren't like upfront and honest about who they are, and maybe scammers, like he had that vulnerability. That's why he likely was targeted. And like it's just so sad. I always find it so freaking sad when it's the person who's helped everyone else. They haven't looked after themselves and they're like, finally, it's my time.
And we heard about this. I mean, we heard about this in multiple stories. I mean, I think of Matthew Shepard, like some of these stories about people who are just like, it's a person who is from a vulnerable population who is seemingly like a kind-hearted person who gets sort of taken advantage of because they just they haven't been surrounded by like affirming, supportive relationships in a way that, you know, would have helped maybe boost their confidence and help them be more open with the people around them. And yeah, I mean, there's a version of the story where he's giving these gifts away because he just doesn't know how else to interact with people. He doesn't like, he's almost like trying to like buy friends in a very kind of sad way.
Yeah, and I think there was parallels there to like, you know, obviously he was lacking in that ability to connect. And then Jordan was lacking in the ability to see the value in connection and just wanting to see the value in attention. Yeah. And like was fine with that kind of lying attitude. And like it bugged me a lot to hear. I felt like it was given too much room to this. Jordan didn't have enough love and he was often left out as a child. And now, yeah, but he fucking grew up. And he grew up to be a grown ass man who knew right from wrong. And maybe he's dramatic sometimes. And maybe he kind of skews lies to get that bit of attention. Like people like that exist without going to an extreme of hurting everyone around you. Mm-hmm. And even like having that there, I felt like it gave it too much time in such a small podcast or such a short podcast. I'm like, what about Dr. Garcia? What was he lacking? Like, we never even explored that. Like, obviously he was trying to fill a void and he was trying to connect with people and this was his way of doing it. And what about that? Well, and what about the fact that he was the vulnerable one? It was never once mentioned how much he was taken advantage of. Sorry. I had nothing to say about this podcast. It wasn't, though. Yeah. It was never once mentioned.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. And I think, I mean, it seemed like the podcast like realized that Jordan was the more like salacious story. And so
but it wasn't like I thought sorry. It wasn't though, Jeff. Like Jordan's the easier story to tell. And I think that's the issue I have with this podcast is they went down the easier route. Oh, stripper. Oh, grows like marijuana or whatever grows weed plants, whatever you call it when it's just a plant. Oh, has multiple like relationships. is like basically got a sugar daddy. Like blah, blah, all this is a fucking Egypt. Like all of these things, like let's tell his story. And it's like, well, what about the not so easy, but way deeper, way more impactful story of talking about the doctor who does so much for everyone, but is vulnerable, gets taken advantage of this creature who even at the end can't even admit to it.
Yeah. I think I get how we feel about this. Do we have any reviews of this podcast?
I had one.
What you got?
I couldn't actually find many. I had one that said...
It's pretty new.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if more come out. I had one that said... Someone is like, what are you listening to? I need some recommendations. And someone said, I gotta know 1, 2, 3, 4. It said Cold-Blooded Mystery in Alaska was good. It's just 6 episodes. Very similar to Dr. Devon Hoover murder case currently going on in Detroit. Haven't heard about that one. Response by Shed1. Cold-Blooded was an okay listen. It should have been called Cold-Blooded Open and Shut Case with very little mystery in Alaska, though.
I mean...
Which, like, maybe, but, like, there was also so many plot twists and turns that you only think that because of the way it was played out. Like, it played out.
Can I, on that point, in our preview, we talked about the murder she wrote of it all. And if Jordan rolls up in Dr. Garcia's car in the first 5 minutes of Murder, She Wrote, and then Dawn
Jessica
says,
Fletcher's all over that.
Those are that's the special keychain that I gave him. He shouldn't have that. The police open the car door and the Walmart receipt rolls out the door. Jessica Fletcher's like, this is the shortest episode of Murder, She Wrote ever. This is a 5-minute episode. Right? Is that not wrong?
No, it's so right. Also, Kamir, you know the way he had 2 names? Why didn't he use like one of his other names for the shipping container?
Oh, Logan Cruz, also Rob Stonebridge. And when he called the police, he gave them 2 of his names. You don't have an alias just to give them both their names. That's the whole point of having an alias. You only tell them one of them. Some of this stuff isn't I don't want to help people commit crimes. That's not what I want to do here.
Oh, is that not the tagline? Though we have underneath so much crime, so little time. We got you. We know you're short on time. We'll help you do the crime. No, we're not. I'm joking.
We're not in that business. But so many things, so many mistakes. Anyway, all right. So you're not recommending this.
Mm-mm.
Are you going to go back to the person who recommended it to us and give him hell?
No, I really like the person who recommended it to us, but I will discuss like the why. Like, was it just like, oh, I sat down one day and I listened to them all in one go and I was like, oh my God, that was so good. Is that where we missed the beat? I don't know. I need to discuss it because I'm confused. Right. And I trust their judgment.
Let's have that discussion and report back. Before we go, if you have thoughts on what we just said, if you have thoughts on Mystery in Alaska, if you have thoughts on using your grill to cook bacon, any or all of the above, leave a comment wherever you're listening to this. If you're listening to this on Spotify right now, go right now and leave a comment, or on Apple, wherever your podcast app of choice. While you're there, give us that 5-star rating. If you haven't done that yet, if you've been listening for a long time and you've been thinking, I love this podcast, but I'm just not a person who leaves ratings. You know, you're not a person who leaves ratings until you leave a rating. And then you're a person who leaves ratings and helps support a show like ours to grow. We really appreciate it. And on top of that, the next time you're out at a minor league hockey game or wherever you happen to find yourself on a Saturday afternoon, be sure to tell people about this show, whether they're wearing our shirt or not. If they're wearing our shirt, that's great. Tell them about it, but they already know because they're wearing the shirt. But if they don't have one of our shirts on or one of our hats on or any of our swag visible.
Is this what it's like listening to me just like go nonstop?
A little bit. Go ahead and tell them about our show. Help us to continue growing. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Jeff. What's your feeling about cats?
I mean, there's one meowing in the hallway behind me right now. So, mixed?
All right. What about a 19-year-old cat called Sergeant Tibbs? What do you think your vibe would be with Sergeant Tibbs?
A 19-year-old cat named Sergeant Tibbs. I mean, I have a 17-year-old cat, so old cats are characters.
All right.
Yeah.
So you think you've got some vibes, you've got some feelings. Well, unfortunately, Sergeant Tibbs goes missing on the streets of Manchester, New Hampshire, not England.
I've been there.
I have not. Not England either. Tibbs's owners obviously fear the worst. Tibbsy's gone. But the owner soon finds out that the cat has never actually gone missing at all. And it turns out that the truth is actually worse than she expected. And that's what we're going to uncover when we dive into the final days of Sergeant Tibbs from NHPR. That's on the next So Much Crime,
So Little Time. So Much Crime, So Little Time is a production of Mind Glove Media. The executive producer is Paxton Caloriso. Our associate producer is Blythe Ty. Our theme music was composed by Vyacheslav Starostin. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to this show on your podcast app. And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and a review. Even better, tell your friends. To join the discussion, look for us on social media. Check out the show notes for all the links. Thanks for listening.